Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new series for a devlog for a video game I'm going to be developing. So, I've always wanted to go ahead and build a video game. I've always loved RPGs, I've loved playing video games growing up, and I've always thought it would be so fun to go ahead and build one, to actually go ahead, plan it out, and create a full-fledged video game. Specifically, I have been more interested in the idea of building a little bit of an RPG. But of course, one of the issues with RPGs is that they are very in depth, very intense, with so many wide and encapsulating features that it becomes very difficult to actually build one solo. Of course, I am going to be a solo dev on this project. I might include some people, I might have to pay some people for assets, but for most part, it's going to be on me to build this. So, naturally, I thought it'd be just fun to go ahead and give it a try, you know? Why not? And of course, there's going to be some limitations on this project, but I wanted to go ahead and at least give a log on the progress weekly to discuss what I've created throughout the week, the progress that I'm making, and what I plan to do in the next week. So, with this being Devlog 0, I think it's a good idea to just go ahead and showcase all the planning that I've done, which is basically what I've been doing this week. So before I get into that, let's discuss the idea of the game that I have. All right, so what we have is I've called it just a mini RPG because I don't really know a name for it at this point. I do have more scoped ideas at this point, and we'll get to that. But for right now, we're just going to stick with mini RPG. So the idea here is to have just a little RPG where I can tell an interesting story. And I want people to be able to be challenged. You know, one of the things that I feel like is missing from modern games, especially as an adult playing games these days, is that games feel very simple. Games tend to feel a little easy unless you're playing one of the Souls games. They feel very handholdy. You know, they just kind of tell you where to go, what to do. I kind of wanted to challenge that a little bit. So I got this idea for a puzzle game, but also an RPG where it's kind of similar to like Undertale mixed with like some sort of side scroller like Metroid, kind of Metroidvania, but something a little bit different. So the general idea overall is just going to be a a game where you're interacting with NPCs, solving puzzles, and not necessarily having exact direction on where you're going. You kind of have to explore a little bit. You gotta kind of have to test things out a little bit. You gotta solve puzzles. It's supposed to be a bit more challenging, but also pretty chill, pretty laid back. So that's the general idea of what I'm going for here. So let's go ahead and get into the actual progress that I've made this week. So as you can see, this is the document to show the general layout of what I have planned here. And I went through and detailed all of this on day one, got a bunch of ideas going, got some general timelines of what I plan to do, and how I plan to do the work for the project as well. So right now, tentative release date is April 1st, 2028. Very, very tentative. No idea how this is going to work out, but that's just it's just a grandiose scale for when I plan to release it, giving me around two years, a little over 2 years to do this. So let's go ahead and get into it. So for the actual sort of specifying the idea that I have, it's more going to be an elemental puzzle type RPG where we have the 4 elements that you'll play as. You'll have air, earth, water, and fire, of course, and each of them will have pros and cons to the element that you're currently playing as, having different effects. Like fire will just literally light everything on fire near it, but you can also light things on fire from a distance, which is kind of the pro of it. So you have to be a little strategic with where you're at with the fire. Water, you won't be able to be on land at all, but you can swim through water just fine, and you could shoot like a little squirt of water to interact with the physical environment. Earth being lumbering, slow, pretty much impervious to everything, but it's very slow, but can go underground and be able to like travel up walls or go under big objects. And then lastly, air, able to fit into little gaps and is able to fly for a short period of time, but actually can't interact with any physical objects. So this is sort of the general idea of what I have for what I want to go with. And at this stage, I'm prototyping, so it's going to be a lot of tweaking this stuff. None of this is really exact. It's just general ideas, general plans that I'm going with and pushing forward with actual development. So then lastly, I'll show you the actual project planner here before we get into the prototypes. So this is my document or Excel sheet where I'll be holding all of the tasks for myself and keeping track of everything. So right now we're on stage 1, the ideation, where I'm going through just basically down the list that I've planned for myself and checking things off as I go. And this is developing this list as well as the documents and a little bit of prototyping is really all I was able to accomplish this week. And so with that, we'll go ahead and go right to the actual prototypes. Okay, so this was the first prototype I built this week. Very quickly threw it together. So as you can see, some of the textures or whatever. Again, this was using a actual texture pack that I found on itch.io, and I'll go ahead and link all the resource packs that I used there, so that way you can check them out, because some of these actually seem pretty good. Like, I like the animated character that I'm using, I like the tile pack that I've used here, although there are some limitations. But generally, I just wanted to get some tiles just to test things out and just experiment. And it was exactly what I did here, because the first prototype, I didn't even have the idea of the elements yet, so this was just to experiment with movement and try to get an idea of how I want the movement to flow, how I want it to feel. And ultimately I decided that a side scroller was actually going to be better for the theme that I'm going with, because the elements I don't think will work as well here. I think in this top-down environment, it's a little more limiting on the interesting puzzles that you can do. I feel like this is more catered to like almost like Zelda type RPGs, which is not exactly what I'm going for right now. So with that, we'll move on to the side-scroller prototype. Okay, so this is the side-scroller prototype. This is a lot less graphical, as I didn't actually have any asset packs and wanted to prototype more of the actual logic and the major mechanics of the game. So this is very, very simple at the moment. But the element that you're controlling is depicted by the color of your sprite. So if I press 2, I will change to earth, and 1 back to air. So air can jump really high, moves really fast, floats slowly. I haven't implemented the flying yet, but that's the next step. Earth, on the other hand, weighs a lot more, it's a lot heavier, is much slower, but can go underground. So this is the representation of going underground for right now. And it can move much faster. It goes in the ground, but he can't jump anymore. He can't jump, but he can go up walls. So that's pretty cool, and it's not exactly working right now, but it's fine. It's fine. It's a prototype after all. Yeah, it's a little buggy, but you know, that's why we prototype things. Just got to figure it out. That's one of the plans to fix this week, really, is actually getting this working properly. I'll probably be working on that actually a little bit today when I'm done with this recording, but yeah, that's what we got so far. So just very simple little logic, simple prototypes. Again, I can only work on this for like 2 to 4 hours a day at most, typically. So I have a full-time job outside of this, but I figure it's a nice little fun project to do on the side, and I think it would be it's fun for me to go ahead and post these devlogs as well to share the journey, share the development as it progresses as well with you guys. So with that, we'll discuss a little bit about what I plan to do this week, which is just going to be essentially this here, just going right down our list of tasks. So we're going to be working on wrapping up the prototypes for these 2 elements and playtesting them, and then I think I'm going to also build a couple basic puzzles for them and see if that feels fun, just to do a couple puzzles with these prototypes, see how it feels to do it, tweak them a little bit, make sure it feels good, at least being able to solve 1 or 2 puzzles with the prototypes themselves. Then I'm going to bring in some friends, have them also play test it just a little bit on those couple puzzles, see what their thoughts are, and tweak it a little further. But that's mainly the goal for this week. I think a lot of this week will be dedicated to actually developing the elemental prototypes themselves. So that's pretty much it. That's a wrap for it. So thank you for watching. Hope you get some value out of this. Feel free to comment down below if you have any ideas as well on what you think I could be doing differently here. Would much appreciate it. This is my first true game. I've developed a little bit in Godot before, but this is truly the first time I've try to make a big plan and try to go forward with it. So let me know your thoughts. Appreciate you watching. I'll see you guys again next Sunday. Peace.